Hello, beautiful soul sister. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to Feminine Power, the conscious descent into the shadow so you can rise into sacred leadership, a journey to reclaim your most sacred and wild self. Think of this as a cozy chat between kindred spirits, where we're sitting at my kitchen table, heart to heart, soul to hot soul, having a cup of tea. Today, I want to give you a little taster of what's possible when we step into circle and sisterhood and honor our cyclical nature, dive deep into the shadow and reclaim our intuitive gifts. Now, just to make sure you're in the right place, this soul work video is designed by a busy woman for busy women. The content will sing true for women who are natural givers, mothers, facilitators, community builders, who have been pouring from an empty cup. You'll feel the call, maybe you feel the call to lead or be part of transformational spaces, but you also crave a nurturing space that feeds your soul. So if that's you, you're in the right place. But if you're purely here looking for hacks, or if the idea of being supported in community makes you feel uncomfortable, this might not be for you. We're doing real soul deep, heartfelt work here with real women who want to see each other shine and celebrate each other for our beautiful, unique, and sacred gifts. So if gossiping, comparison, judgment, or criticism is your jam, please don't waste your time or mine, because this definitely is not the space for you. So before we begin, let's drop in. Let's take a moment to close our eyes and just take a deep breath into your body. Just check in and notice how you are feeling. Just feel your body arriving in this moment. Maybe turn your phone onto silent, remove all distractions, close the door, and give yourself this sacred moment where there's nowhere to be, nothing to do, no one to please, but just taking this moment for you. And if it's safe to do so, closing your eyes and imagine, see, sense, feel yourself sitting in the most beautiful place in nature. The temperature is perfect, and you're sitting in a beautiful sacred circle of women. And maybe you imagine holding the hand of the women beside you, knowing that no matter whether you're watching this video as a replay, knowing that energy knows no time and space. So here we can call in a sisterhood, call in the energy of community. And in your heart space, think of somebody you love. Really breathe that love and open the heart and take that love up to your right shoulder. And as you breathe out next, feel yourself giving that love to the sister beside you and receiving at the same time the love from the sister to your left. This reciprocity of giving and receiving, of deepening your connection to yourself and others, and calling yourself present into this time and space, curious, open, and ready to just allow whatever unfolds to unfold. And just coming back, staying in this liminal space, opening your eyes when you're ready, and seeing, feeling, sensing just that grounded presence. So today, we'll dive into how the shadow works and how the shadow can be a gateway to true emotional and spiritual wholeness. I'll also show you, so during our time together today, we're going to dive into how shadow work can be the gateway to true emotional and spiritual wholeness. It can also show you why aligning with your cyclical nature, your second biological clock, but we'll get to that, can radically boost your energy and help you avoid burnout. Yes, I'll give you quick, tangible tips along the way. And we'll also explore mindset shifts that allow you to fully own your worth and break free from limiting beliefs that have kept you playing small. And finally, I'll show you why sisterhood, when women weave into their life the feminine power pathway, why this is a powerful catalyst that can elevate women into sacred leadership. But before we dive in, did you know that 80% of women suffer from anxiety, depression, weight gain, hormonal problems, and or exhaustion? Or hands up if you have a big combination of all of these. But why is that? We're often getting treated for these symptoms, but they are just that, symptoms. The root cause, from my belief, is stress and burnout. Because by living in a world that doesn't allow the feminine to flow, a world that praises working hard at the expense of our health, and a world where women are now, thankfully, having a voice, and we are starting to have a seat at the table. But in many cases, to have a voice and a seat at the table, we have to become men or behave like men and deny our feminine. But we are also still, no matter how much we show up, how much we can step into our careers and, truly be the women we want to be, often women are still the main child carer, the cook, the cleaner, the taxi driver, the organizer, the mediator, the one who holds everyone else's shit together. And they wonder why we lose our shit when everyone is always wanting something from us. It's exhausting, even speaking about this now, because I know how this feels. It was my life for so long. I no longer have a life partner, but I wasn't willing to play the game of a nuclear family and pretend that I was thriving. And if this was my reality, hands up here, who here has also suffered from this feeling of being on all the time, so that you are giving so much at the sacrifice of yourself? And if that is you, what do we do about it? We gather, of course, not just for superficial chit-chat, but to be truly seen, heard, and held in a deep connection and community, which I like to call sisterhood. And the best way I know to do this is where everyone gets to have a voice, is in circle. We see back in the time of the goddess worshipping, women would come together in the red tent traditions. They'd come together every month to bleed together, to dream a new dream, to share our stories, and to nurture one another. But with the rise of Catholicism, the goddess temples were abandoned or destroyed, and the masculine top-down hierarchical rule of the patriarchy began. It was then that women who showed any sign of intuition, herbal skills, healing hands, were burnt at the stake as witches. Women were divided and conquered, banned from gathering together, and the way of circle fell to the wayside. But it doesn't have to stay that way. Because I know that when women come together, magic happens. And that's why bringing women back into circle, teaching women how to hold deeper, more transformative spaces, inclusive spaces, that is what I've dedicated my life to. And this is what I believe is sacred leadership. And this is why I am here. It is my mission to create a movement where 1 million women worldwide learn how to become sacred leaders of their own lives so that they embody connection and inclusivity. And they create safe and sacred places where women can gather to listen to each other's stories, not from a place of neediness or from needing a response, but from a place of true presence and deep honorment of each other. And within this movement, there's a sisterhood. So that no matter where you travel in the world, there'll be a soul sister holding a circle, having an event that will be able to have these soft places to land and lean into. So that's my mission. Sounds beautiful, hey? But during our time together, you'll see how circles have become the bedrock of women's emotional, spiritual well-being for centuries. We'll also chat about So my big promise to you today is that by the end of this presentation, you'll not only feel more prepared for our call, but you'll have a few easy steps that you can take right now. I'm not here to overwhelm you with more information or theory. I'm here to give you a taster of real soul level transformation, something you can truly feel within. And to do that, I also must ask you something. It is my belief that the way we do anything is the way we do everything. Your soul led you here for a reason, so give your time right now together. Get everything you've got. Put down all your distractions, even light a candle and set an intention to be present, to leave everything you think you know at the door and bring an open heart and a curious mind. Maybe take some notes and celebrate any mindset shifts and changes in perspective that you have along the way. And lastly, if you love this presentation, share it with at least one friend, someone who might like to come on this journey with you. Because we're not meant to walk this path of self-discovery or even this crazy ride called life. We're not meant to do it alone. But speaking of doing things alone, tell me if this feels true. Raise your hand if any of this is familiar, that you often feel unseen, unheard, or under-supported in your life. Maybe you feel torn between motherhood and personal growth, or even motherhood and your career. And you long for deep connection with like-minded women, a place where you can take off your facilitator hat and become a journey woman so that you can deepen into your own experience. And hands up if you know that you're intuitive and have so much more to share, but you're sick and tired of ignoring that gentle, beautiful voice within. You are not alone, sister. I know we all often feel that way, isolated, busy, and maybe feeling like we've outgrown the connections we have been used to. Maybe you even feel like you've read all the books, shown up on all the workshops, and you've done all the things. Yet somehow the triggers keep coming up, no matter how much work you've done. And here's the kicker. You're the one holding space for everyone else, your friends, your client, your community, your family. Yet rarely we have those spaces where we can truly exhale. Even when you try to switch off, you can't shake that constant feeling of being on. Can you relate? Because I've definitely been there too. Sister, it's important that you hear this. It's not your fault. Too many of us have been stuck in spaces that never really see us, leaving us feeling invisible or unworthy, even though we know we're here for something bigger. Maybe you're thinking, I should somehow know how to handle this by now. I must be doing something wrong. Sound familiar? Trust me, you are not broken and you do not need fixing. And maybe you can finally release the need for healing and instead find the spaces that regulate your nervous system because they have the right kind of support that allows you to truly drop in and allow transformation at a soul deep level. And this is exactly why we're having this conversation. So you can finally name what's really going on, because once we do, real change can happen. So what really is going on beneath all the frustration and stuckness? The truth is we're often showing up as the women others expect us to be instead of the women we know we can be. Society has a lot to answer for, and we have been conditioned to go it alone, to hustle, to grind, in a system that doesn't honor women's cyclical nature. Over time, we end up cut off from our intuition and disconnected from our deeper rhythms. Because of this, we often undervalue our own needs and our own spiritual gifts, telling ourselves our desires aren't important enough or that we're somehow selfish for wanting more. And the biggest missing piece, a safe and sacred container where you can freely explore your shadow and truly rise into the woman you were meant to be. Unique, wild, bold. Who is she? But here's the good news. When we experience genuine connection and support, where we can finally let ourselves receive, everything can change. But we have few spaces to practice leading from the heart without judgment. Spaces I call the healed sisterhood, where there's no judgment, no competition, no comparison, and no need to rescue each other from our emotions or experiences. When we find this healed sisterhood, a safe and sacred space where you can let yourself receive support and be seen as you truly are, there's no turning back. Stress literally melts away and the strain lifts. Suddenly, facilitation and sacred leadership isn't just another thing on your to-do list. It's a reason to gather again in sisterhood, and the spaces you lead become fulfilling, soul-driven practices that fuel you. Now, if you're watching this video, you probably already know my name is Evening Star Nightwalker, but you might not have been in my space long enough to find out how this name came about. But that is another story for another day. What I'd love to share with you is what sparked my curiosity of a lifelong passion for women's mysteries and spiritual wisdom. You see, when I was 8, my father passed away, leaving my mum with 3 kids under the age of 10. Naturally, she was desperate for answers. Why does something devastating happen, and why to her? In her search, she discovered this beautiful community of wise women who gathered every month in a very informal circle to heal, share, and deepen their self-knowledge. I was fortunate enough to be included in this community where these women taught me about healing, how to protect my energy, and the art of cleansing spaces. Also, how to create a safe and nurturing space that truly feels safe. Those years between 8 and 16 with these women imprinted on my life and on my heart. And I'm dedicating my life to guiding others to find that same kind of nurturing sacred container, one where we can heal, grow, and remember who we truly are. And most of all, I now want this for my daughter and for all of our daughters, so that we can celebrate as they get their first bleed, as they become mothers and us grandmothers, so we can again honor our blood rights and reconnect with the wheel of life through the seasons both within and around us. So we can again honor the moon, the stars, the planets, and our soul's calling that for me whispers gifts of remembering the old ways of when women gathered, and empowering me with the wisdom and knowledge to share this remembering with you. That's where the feminine power pathway comes in. This is an initiatory process designed to help you do more than just know better. This is where I guide you to feel better in your body, regulate your nervous system, and step into feminine embodied leadership with ease and grace. And a whole lot of hell yes empowerment. Here you'll discover how to reconnect, reclaim, remember, and rise so you can harness emotional triggers and turn them into superpowers, align with your cyclical wisdom, and lead without sacrificing your energy authenticity. Through sacred rituals and rites of passage, you'll feel safe, held, and confident every step of the way. And the most beautiful component is you don't have to hold it all together anymore. Definitely do not have to hold it all together alone. Together we rise, sisters. It is not your time to be held in both. Is it not your time to be held in both your mess and your magic? To learn that softening is stronger than doing more, and to remember you do not need fixing because you were never broken in the first place. Knowing all the theory is one thing. Experiencing deep and profound healing in a fully supportive container is what makes real transformation possible. And that's exactly what the Feminine Power Pathway offers. A time to stop, to drop in, and move out of surviving and starting to thrive. All right, let's zoom in on this beautiful power pathway. So let's zoom in a little bit on this power pathway. No, I have not spelt power wrong. Power is actually an acronym for pause, open, wild, and reflect, which also encompasses the reconnect, reclaim, remember, rise, and reflect pillars of what it means to go from surviving to thriving. So when we dive in, each of these phases, the 4-phase pathway, works with the cycles of life, the seasons, the moon, your menstrual cycle. All seasons in life follow the 4 distinct phases, but have different timings. And when we attune to this natural rhythm and flow, this is the feminine power pathway. So P is for the sacred pause, which I also like to call the reconnect phase. Hands up if you've been in the go mode for most of your life, juggling responsibilities, showing up for others, and ignoring your own signals within. In our society, we're taught to speed through life, to strive at all costs, avoid the messy parts, and focus on productivity above all else. The sacred pause flips the script by inviting us into a conscious descent where we slow down and bravely look at our shadow self. Those parts of us that have been buried, hidden away, or forgotten because society or our family or someone or something made us believe that those parts of us were not okay. We were given a story that we were too much or not enough. In the sacred pause, we intentionally go inwards to identify the old beliefs, habits, and emotional triggers lurking beneath the surface. Think of it as a conscious descent into your subconscious, where you get to lovingly explore what's really driving your actions, reactions, and behaviors. So, why is this step so important? And why is this where we begin? Because if you try to build new habits and the ways of being on top of a shaky and unexamined foundation, you'll keep reverting to old habits and patterns and going back to autopilot. By pressing pause, you give yourself permission to feel your emotions rather than pushing them away. And you'll hear me say this a million times. In order to heal, we must learn how to feel. And by feeling, we are accessing the nervous system and laying a solid foundation of a road to self-regulation practices like breath work, somatic movement, timeline therapy, and a simple mindful embodied check-in that can signal safety to your body and mind at any time. So let's do a little exercise together so that you can safely meet an aspect of your shadow, because rather than fearing your triggers and giving your power away every time you feel reactive or triggered, you can use these moments as activation points for deeper self-awareness. Each trigger, each uncomfortable emotion can be a doorway that reveals what needs to be reprogrammed or released. And while knowing better might help on the surface, real change comes when your nervous system feels safe enough to let these transformations take root. So take a moment to grab a pen and paper and just close your eyes if it's safe to do so. And I invite you to remember the last time you were triggered. For me, it was when my daughter spoke to me in that tone of voice. Felt like she was ordering me around and I snapped. But then I took a breath. Let's take a breath together now. And really call in that last time you felt triggered. Feel into that time and allow yourself, without guilt, shame, or blame, to just capture the feelings. Where in your body is this feeling held? Take your breath there and notice it without judgment. No good or bad, right or wrong. Just what does that part of your body look like? What does it feel like? Is there colors, shapes? Is it open or closed? Now tune into that moment again when you were triggered and ask this area of your body, what limiting belief or story popped up for me in that moment, causing me to give away my power? Again, coming back to my example, Paige's tone of voice triggered a thought and feeling within me that I wasn't doing something right, that I wasn't good enough. Something that had been ingrained in me since childhood. So for you, come back to your breath and ask yourself, what was that old limiting belief or story that came up? And now tune into that part of your body and ask yourself, how old was I when I first felt this feeling? You are safe. You are protected. And I just want you to now shake off that feeling, knowing that first number that popped into your mind, or if there was a couple of numbers, go to the earliest number, which you should lift up out of your body now, just above what we call your timeline. And imagine in one direction your future stretched out, and imagine your past stretched out in another direction. And allow your conscious mind to take you back along your past timeline to that very first time you ever felt this feeling. Allow your conscious mind to take you there now. You are in a beautiful energy bubble floating above this event. And you do not need to know exactly what this event was. You could make it up. Your subconscious simply needs a symbol. But now we're going to float up above this time. On the count of 3, we're going to go up to a place of total stillness, no emotion, and peace. 1, floating up above the event now. 2, floating up so high that you are past the stars, the sky, the moon, and the galaxy. 3, up into a place of the infinite, all of everything, where that experience way down below is just a simple speck, and you are in a place of no emotion and total stillness. If you are not in a place of no emotion and total stillness, feel yourself going up even further, up higher and higher. And when you get to that total stillness and place of no emotion, ask yourself, for some reason, this experience happened for you. So ask your subconscious now to let you know what learnings, positive learnings and lessons you could take from this event so that you can release this emotion, this trigger from your timeline so that you release the emotional charge and it then no longer is an issue for you in this life. So maybe with your eyes closed or staying in that liminal space, maybe using your pen and paper, if something comes up, things like I am strong, I am capable, I am worthy, I am seen, I am heard, and I belong. If something comes up that is focused on another or in a negative state, flip that script and turn it into something different. So I'm just going to give you 2 minutes here to just see what comes up. And as you journal, don't need to make this make sense. You simply can write the words. Even if you can't read them later, it doesn't matter. This imprint, this energy is flowing through you. What beautiful positive learnings and lessons can you take from this event so that this trigger is no longer an issue for you in this life and you release it now? It's like a beautiful string of pearls. When we release the very first pearl, the rest of the pearls slide off. Taking those beautiful positive learnings and lessons that you can take from this trigger. And if these positive learnings and lessons had a colour, write down what colour they would be. And if these beautiful learnings and lessons had a sound, what sound would they make? Now imagine, see, sense, feel this beautiful bowl of paint swirling with all the learnings and lessons that you received from this trigger. From the very first time this emotion was a problem for you in this life. It's swirling and twirling with that beautiful colour and the beautiful sound and all of the learnings and lessons. And this endless bowl of paint, pour it now down into that event so that every single thing, every person, every shape, every colour, every tree, every wall is coloured that beautiful colour and makes that beautiful sound and is imbued with the learnings and lessons that you received from this experience. And now on the count of 3, we're going to swish this beautiful colour and sound through your entire timeline from then to now and even into your future. 1, 2, 3. Whoosh, swish that colour, the sounds, and all of those beautiful learnings and lessons through your timeline. And like fairy lights, where this issue, this trigger was a problem for you anytime in your life, it becomes healed and whole, instead allowing you to bring forth those beautiful positive learnings and lessons in this moment, in those moments, and in future moments. Let's do that one more time. Tipping and spraying that color and sound all the way through your timeline. From then to now into the future. 3, 2, 1. Whoosh. That is floating down now from that beautiful place up in the infinite all of everything. Float down so that you're in your beautiful bubble, guided, safe and protected. And you're floating above and before the event. And just notice, is that trigger there or gone now? If it's still there, come back to this or pause now and go back up and see what further learnings and lessons you can receive, for you haven't received them all yet. But if it is gone, that is beautiful. Drop into the experience and like you're looking at it through your own eyes and notice, is that trigger there or gone now? Is that emotion there or gone now? Again, if it's not completely gone, go back up. Take all of the learnings and lessons, then come back down. And when that emotion has gone now, allow yourself to come back from then to the now just as quickly as you can help release any residual trigger or emotion from any time in your past, from then until now, coming back to the now, coming back and coming into your body. In an email I'll send out to you, there's also a beautiful power practice called Shifting Emotions in the Moment. And this is a guided practice that allows you to go in and work with your inner child and reprogram some of those old limiting beliefs, thoughts and feelings. So check your emails, and I will send that to you ASAP. So the next time a trigger flares up for you, take 2 minutes to do that shifting emotions in a moment exercise. Or place a hand on your heart or that place in your body that felt this trigger, and it takes 1 second to breathe into this moment and to choose to not give your power away, but to allow yourself, your nervous system, your presence, your felt sense to respond differently. And this might sound simple, but it's extremely powerful. Once you shine a light on your stories, when you name them to tame them, you are able to create a genuine space of transformation. And that's exactly why pause is the very first step of our journey. So we can clear away the inner clutter and reconnect you with what truly matters before moving forward. And the results, really? Some people say, I don't want to go within. I don't want to face my shadow. It's too painful to go there. Why can't I just jump to the fun part? But here's the secret. The pause phase is precisely what makes the rest of the feminine power pathway possible. By calming your mind and body and identifying the unconscious scripts that have kept you stuck, you can build self-love, self-trust, and clarity. Instead of feeling like you're stumbling in the dark, you begin to witness your triggers as signposts, alerting you to what needs healing. That's the real difference in this approach. Unlike many programs where you kind of sink or swim through your shadow self, here you're fully supported with practical tools, a gentle structure, and ongoing guidance and support. The result? You're not spiritually bypassing or burying your emotions anymore. You're learning to navigate them with compassion and confidence. And once you establish this solid emotional foundation, you're ready to move into the next phase, which is to open, or what I love to call the reclamation stage. This is where you'll align with your cyclical wisdom, step into your innate feminine power, because you already cleared the internal clutter that was blocking your growth. In short, pause isn't an optional detour. It's the bedrock of deep, lasting change. And each moment of mindful awareness, you're rewriting your story and opening the door to a more fully expansive life. And trust me, your future self will thank you for it. And we all know that when we are in a facilitation role, we can only take others as deep as we are willing to go ourselves. So if you want to rise into sacred leadership, you must go down first into the self with courage, commitment, and while being held in a safe and sacred container. So let's explore open and see how we can build on this newfound sense of clarity and ease. The open phase of the feminine power pathway is the reclamation. And it steps you through what it means to be truly woman. In pause, we explored how slowing down reveals hidden beliefs and regulates your nervous system. But now in open, we're going to lean into your cyclical nature, removing layers of shame, fear, and guilt that often surround our bodies, our menstrual history, and the very fact of being woman in today's society. This phase is more than mindset shifts. It's a deconditioning of the soul, freeing you from autopilot yeses that you know deep down should have been no's. Here you learn to honor the seasons of your body and the flow of your energy so you can tap into a profound well of power that lies within your cyclical nature of being woman. We also here bring feminine and masculine energies into healthy balance, acknowledging when one is overpowering or one is underactive, which continues to build upon the nervous system regulation we began in the pause phase. Ultimately, open invites us to step out of the box the world has placed us in so that we can fully reclaim our vibrant cyclical essence of being woman on a mission to lead from a new feminine paradigm. Did you know that women have a second biological clock called the infradian rhythm? Women are not meant to do the same thing day after day. And if we do, we cannot expect to have balanced hormones or emotional well-being. Women are designed to flow in rhythm with the 4 phases of the moon. And did you know that in Greek language, mean means moon? This is why you might refer to your bleed as your moon time, or like the moon. Did you know that women have a second biological clock called the infradian rhythm? Women are not meant to do the same thing day after day, and if we do, we cannot expect to have energy, balanced hormones, or emotional well-being. Women are designed to flow in rhythm with the 4 phases of your menstrual cycle, which actually align with the 4 phases of the moon, which in a healthy cycle is around 27 to 29 days. But before I lose anyone here who is no longer bleeding for any reason, women who no longer bleed move with the moon. We always have, and always will. And when you align your life with the innate 4 phases of being woman, aka the feminine power pathway, the cycle within the cycle, you can start to show up differently in your life. See here in this diagram, the feminine power pathway aligned with your natural hormonal system and the moon phases. It shows us here that the cycles in life are, as I said earlier, all varying length, but there's only one cycle. These cycles within the cycles and this knowledge and wisdom should have been something taught to us as kids. But the divide and conquer strategy of the patriarchal society has isolated women, and it won't be until we reprogram ourselves to learn to trust, to open, and to receive from each other in a healed sisterhood that we can come back into alignment with our feminine energy. So many of us are programmed to be on all the time, giving at the sacrifice of ourselves and wondering why burnout and stress are so prevalent. But as women, each of the 4 phases of our cycle calls for something different, from dietary requirements to exercise routines to your capacity for social outings and the foreplay you need, even your productivity levels. Everything in life for a woman is cyclical in nature. And when we tap into the feminine power pathway across all areas of our life, that's when we can create energy and vitality that lasts all month long. And this is exactly what I've outlined in my book, PMS Power. You know, I know that's a little bit of a shameless plug, but it's time to reclaim this vital piece of our womanly power that should have been our birthright. And as we do, we normalize our natural rhythms. And this, in my opinion, is the first step to healing at the root cause level, physically, emotionally, energetically. To reclaim and embody your feminine power, we need to start living from your core, not your conditioning. As we open, this is our chance to reprogram what it even means to be woman, especially if we've spent a lifetime hearing messages like, women are pretty, polite, and pleasing, don't rock the boat, don't make waves, be in the kitchen, be seen and not heard. Think about it. From a young age, we're often taught not to stand out or draw too much attention, which can keep us playing small. But here's the thing. Everything begins with a thought. Our thoughts create our beliefs, the beliefs shape our feelings, and our feelings influence our actions, and our actions create our reality. If we keep thinking, I'm not allowed to be different or strong, that's exactly what you're going to attract, a life where we shrink ourselves. In open, we take a stand for our cyclical feminine nature and question, where did my beliefs about who I am come from? And where is my inner glass ceiling of what I deserve? Who put that there? Me or not me? We get to question, are these things really mine, or are they just handed down from family, culture, and society? Here we use shamanic journeying, transformative breath work, neuro-linguistic programming, induction of trance states, and so much more to shake yourself free of what isn't yours to carry. Once you know these thoughts and feelings and behaviors are autopilot and they're not actually in alignment with your true self, you get to trade shame, fear, and guilt for self-love, self-worth, and genuine empowerment. This deconditioning is essential to be able to know yourself fully. And as we align with our cyclical wisdom, knowing we don't have to perform, please, or self-sacrifice every single day, our nervous systems can relax. We feel safe to say no when we mean it, to set boundaries that honor our well-being, and to let go of living on autopilot. And this is how we rise into sacred feminine leadership, leading our lives and leading others with integrity, soul alignment, and unwavering confidence. So, in open, you're not just reclaiming your cyclical nature, you're reclaiming your entire right to be seen, heard, and held, and most importantly, to be unapologetically you. You will feel this in your body and your bones as you wildly remember and awaken your soul's gifts and ignite your wild magic. So, sister, welcome to the wild side. The wild remembering phase is a time of full moon energy where everything is at its highest potential. There's magnetic, illuminating energy brimming with possibilities. Think of it as the peak of yang, masculine energy, balancing the feminine, the moment for outward expression, bold, unapologetic self-expression. In wild, you embody the queen archetype, the mother phase of life. You've uncovered more of who you are as the divine creatrix of your life in the pause and open phases. And now, as you step into the wild, you radiate what power is from inward out. It's not about being perfect. It's about stepping into your unique expression of all that you are, your unique soul's purpose, gifts, and special blend of energy that only you can bring to the world. For you are so necessary. Your gifts are necessary, and you should never have to shrink yourself for anybody or anything else. So let me ask you this, sister. If there was no one else around, if you were living your most aligned, self-expressed life, who would you be? What would you stand for? And how is she different to the woman that you are in this very moment? This is a journaling prompt that I want you to explore. Let me read that again. If no one else was around, if you were living your most aligned and self-expressed life, who would you be? What would you stand for? And how is she different to the woman you are in this very moment? For when we dissolve the imposed constructs of who we should be, we pause, we open, we arrive at our wild core. This is where you get to be all that you are, living from your core, not your conditioning, and igniting your wild magic. And on your way to rising into sacred leadership. For sacred leadership is the wild phase where you step beyond the self-discovery and into how you can lead, live, and be in alignment and congruent with the deeply feminine, soul-led place within you. Sacred leadership is where you integrate cyclical living, emotional mastery, and intuitive knowing into every aspect of your life. Whether you're leading yourself, your family, a business, a workshop, or simply day-to-day life. The benefits of feminine leadership are deep authenticity, clearer intuition, a collaborative spirit, and the capacity to hold space for others without losing yourself, and especially without burnout. What makes my approach unique is the blend of spiritual depth with sacred ritual and archetypal wisdom, with tangible, proven tools such as neurolinguistic programming, neurotransformation therapy, somatic practices, mindset work, breath work, and so much more. Being in sacred leadership isn't about adding more hustle to your life. It's about honoring the natural and dynamic flow of your energy. Many people never tap into this style of leadership because society tells us to be on 24/7. But here's the question. Why wouldn't you choose a path that offers more ease, alignment, and soul level impact? Weaving feminine wisdom into practical tools literally changes the game. It changed my life, and I have guided thousands of women to connect with their feminine power pathway, which gave them the authority to lead from the heart while still moving mountains in the outer world. Because when we're fueled by our own wild magic, nothing can stop us. The wild stage is such a game changer. No more tall poppy syndrome, no more playing it small in fear of making someone else feel bad. In the wild phase, you cultivate clarity of purpose by harnessing that full moon energy within. You see your vision more vividly and can manifest it more powerfully. You become magnetic. When you lead from this queen archetype, people and opportunities are drawn to your confidence and authenticity. And when you live in alignment with who you are, your creativity expands in ways you never thought possible because you're no longer holding back or pushing your deepest desires away. Doing this kind of deep transformative work on your own can be isolating, confusing, and discouraging. That's a unique advantage of the feminine power pathway. You've got ongoing community support, personal mentorship, and step-by-step framework that respects your cyclical rhythms while challenging you to stretch and grow. Instead of working against your nature, you're finally aligned with it, giving yourself permission to release the good girl conditioning that says, don't be too loud, don't be too ambitious. And once you fully embrace your gifts in wild remembering, you can rise and reflect. You've been igniting your wild magic, making sure that all of your energy and insights take root in the real world as you rise into sacred leadership. You know it's one thing to have a powerful breakthrough, it's another to live it. We might go to these retreats and workshops, but the real work happens when we step away from them and integrate that into our daily life. The rise and reflect stage is all about integration. We integrate the discoveries and refine your boundaries and anchor your growth so you emerge with rock solid self-love, unshakable self-worth, unwavering confidence, and clarity that keeps you aligned with your greatest purpose. And isn't that to be uniquely you? Pushing the boundaries, being too much for many, but just fucking right for your tribe, for the women who are here that need to work with you? The rise and reflect phase, the final step in the feminine pathway. You've slowed down, you've faced your shadows, reclaimed your cyclical wisdom, and opened and ignited your wild magic. It's time to integrate everything you've discovered so you can truly rise into the next level of your life. To reflect means to take stock of what you've learned, the old stories you've shared, the new ways you move through triggers, the self-awareness you've gained around your body's rhythms, and the deepest trust you now hold in your intuitive gifts. When you rise, stepping forward in an identity level transformation, this is where you realize you're no longer the woman who started this journey. You lead your life, your family, your community, your business from a place of embodied wholeness. We also continue our nervous system practices here, ensuring that the breakthrough sticks. We don't want that aha fleeting moment. We want lasting transformation and embodiment of change. And that's what Rise and Reflect is all about. Celebrating how far you've come and anchoring these shifts so they become second nature. And I truly believe, after working with thousands of women over the past 25 years in women's health, empowerment, and sacred leadership, I agree with Marianne William, who said, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. It is that we are powerful beyond measure. One question I often hear is, why can't I just do this on my own? The truth is, integration is often the hardest part. So without the right container or mentorship and support, it's so easy to fall back into old patterns. Rise and Reflect is where we ensure the momentum you've built doesn't fade. We build on the synergy of earlier phases and channel it into your everyday life with practical steps, daily rituals, and supportive structures that maintain this new baseline for your confidence, inner peace, and aligned leadership. Think about it. Why wouldn't you give yourself the chance to anchor these breakthroughs, to live them out rather than letting them slip away? This process isn't about a temporary high. It's about a permanent and consistently evolving shift. That's something few people achieve on their own without guidance and without a community. That's why we do it together. And that's what makes Rise and Reflect so powerful. Now, I want to share with you why I firmly believe this process works. I've walked these pillars myself, facing my own shadows, reclaiming my cyclical wisdom, igniting my wild purpose, and learning to integrate it all into my daily life. I have fallen down, but I keep getting back up. Over the last 25 years, I've supported countless women to step into their next evolution of sacred leadership, whether that meant healing deep emotional wounds, launching a soul-aligned business, or simply showing up in their relationship with newfound confidence and authenticity. I've witnessed how the feminine power pathway transforms real lives again and again. And here's what I know for sure. You are not broken. You do not need fixing. You're evolving and becoming the woman you've always sensed you could be. There's nothing more powerful than trusting yourself. And this process is designed to help you do exactly that. If you're willing to show up, the transformation is inevitable. So let's talk about your next steps, your homework and commitment going forward. Firstly, thank you for watching this entire video. I know life is busy, but by carving out this time for you, that shows me your commitment to change. Secondly, if you haven't already, schedule our call, our activation call. And when you have, commit to showing up fully at that time. No distractions, fully present, and give 100% to our time together. My request is that you view that appointment like gold and show up, because I don't reschedule missed calls unless it's because of a dire circumstance. And come to our call prepared with notes. Bring your questions and aha moments that have arisen during this video and even outside of it. Write down the limiting beliefs that have surfaced and triggers you're most eager to transform, and your personal goals for stepping into sacred leadership. The more you bring to the table, the deeper we can go together on our activation call. By honoring this commitment, you're already demonstrating to yourself and to me that you're truly ready for change. This is where you begin living as a woman that you know you are, and you are worth the time and effort. And trust me, once you take that stand, the universe meets you there. So let's just take a recap for a moment. We've journeyed through pause, shedding old patterns. We've opened and reclaimed our cyclical wisdom. We have wildly remembered our unique magic. And now the Rise and Reflect integration of all that you are, bringing that into your daily life. My promise is to guide you safely and powerfully through each phase. Your promise is to show up for yourself, to take these next steps, and to trust that this pathway can unlock the potential you've always felt bubbling beneath the surface. So here's my final question. Are you ready to rise? Because if the answer is yes, then I can't wait to connect with you on our call and dive into this journey together. For together, we truly rise beyond the stories, beyond the limitations, and into a life of sacred leadership that reflects the woman you're destined to be. I see you, sister, and I'll see you when I see you, where I see you. Bye for now.